Get out my broccoli. Go, get out my broccoli. Go. This is Kathleen at My Alabama Farm Life, and today I'm going to work on covering up my bed so the chickens will stay out of it. If you have a chance and you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe to my channel. I do appreciate it. Before I get started on covering up my beds, I need to go ahead and pull out some of the plants that did not survive our last frost. This basil died, and even it still smells really good even after I pull it out. And then I need to walk around to the other side and pull out what is left of my cucumber. It is already dried and falling apart. I was really hoping that the frost would hold out just a little bit longer. I actually had some lovely blooms on the cucumber, but yeah, this last frost, I think we ended up with 3 days of temperatures below freezing, and it really took it out. So I'm having issues with my chickens. They keep getting into my beds and they're tearing them up, wallowing in them, and eating everything. Now, these are my broccoli starts that my son saved from the garden across the street, and as you can see, the chickens have eaten all the leaves off of them. Get out. Get out. Out. Out, 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 out. You've already made a big enough mess. Get out. Oh, get out of, get. Get out of my cabbage. Out. What they've done to my cabbage. And my broccoli. Bad birds. Now, I've done a good job at keeping this covered. I've managed to save my bok choy, and I have a few lettuces, and I just adjusted it a little bit, but this is what I want all my beds to look like. This way they'll be safe from the predators that keep eating all my cabbage. Not that one. First thing I need to do is I have to get into this bed and I have to fix what the chickens have destroyed. They got in here, they dug up some of the plants, they've wallowed in the soil, and they've just made a mess. So I need to fix what few that can be saved and make sure that it's covered up real well, and hopefully I can keep them out of the cabbage so we could actually have a cabbage harvest this spring. But, you know, we shall see. I don't even know if this is going to work. These chickens have tossed so much soil around that I'm having to borrow from the other side, which is fine. I have 3 more bags of soil so I can fill in the other side with no problem. Right now, I just want to make sure that these cabbage have plenty of soil on them. And then I have some straw, and I'm probably going to use the straw to cover the soil and give them a little extra warmth. I use this black plastic garden fencing to cover my beds. I also use it for a variety of reasons. I also use it in my chicken coops. I use it to keep the littles in their temporary enclosure that I have for my grow out pen. And I've even used it in the kennel. When I raise them inside the house, I use it to keep them inside the kennel because they're so small and they get out. So this bed is 3 by 6. And the width of the fencing is 4 foot. It's actually almost too short. Maybe next time I'll buy the 5 foot, but it will still work. I want to make sure that it's long enough, and if it's too long, that's fine. But as I work across the width side, I want to make sure that all the little holes are closed up so the chickens can't get in. That's my biggest challenge at this point. One of the things that I'm always doing is trying to figure out ways where I can do something better. And one of the problems that I have is keeping the netting up off my plants. So I was in Tractor Supply the other day and I found these flag markers and they were really inexpensive. And I think I got I can't remember what size they are, but what I'm doing is I'm bending them into an L shape and I'm using them to hold up the netting to keep them off my plants. And then to keep the holes closed up, I use these tent pegs, and they're also pretty long, and I can adjust the height and help keep the netting down so the chickens can't sneak in. So there I have the one flag in, and it seems to be doing a pretty respectable job. It's got the mesh up off the ground, and hopefully this will keep the chickens off of it. So this is not funny, but when I walked around here to put in another tent peg, I found a poor cabbage laying on the ground. So, I mean, it's a little dry, but I picked it up and I'm going to plant it, and hopefully it'll reroot itself and grow. But again, we will see. Everything's just a waiting game here. But I put in my last tent peg, and this is what I ended up with. I think it looks pretty good, but we're going to have to do a chicken test to see how well it's going to stand up to these hens. They just will not stay out of my cabbage. They really love it, and they really have torn it up. I'm going to give everything a really good watering. We haven't had rain in, goodness, weeks, and what little rain we did get was really not enough. So I'm having to do some extra watering today and tomorrow and the next day until it finally rains. And now it's time for the test. Let's see if this works and I've been able to keep the chickens out of my cabbage. So I'm not going to call this a fail, but it definitely isn't a victory. At least they can't get in there and wallow holes and dig up my cabbage. I'm not sure what I'm going to do next, but I'm going to keep on trying to figure it out. Guys, if you have any suggestions to help me keep these chickens out of my cabbage, I would appreciate it, and leave it in the comments. This is the end of this video. I want to thank you all for watching. You guys have a blessed and joyous day, and I will see you on my next video. Nope, she hopped out. Back on my broccoli. Get out of my broccoli. Go, get out of my broccoli. Go.